I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My mom, Margaret, sitting on the couch with Lisa's 3 kids, laughing, smiling, looking healthier than I'd seen her in months. For a woman who supposedly couldn't watch my daughter for a single night because of her health, she seemed perfectly fine babysitting my sister's children. My chest tightened, and everything inside me froze. The laughter died the moment they spotted me in the doorway. My mother's face paled for a fraction of a second before she plastered on that familiar, rehearsed smile. "Jake? What a surprise." "I wasn't expecting you," she chirped, bouncing my nephew on her knee. I couldn't speak. The envelope of cash in my hand, the extra money for utilities, groceries, everything I'd brought over, suddenly felt like a lead weight. My eyes darted between her, the kids, and my dad slouched in his recliner, avoiding my gaze. "You said you couldn't watch Mia because of your health," I finally said, voice tight. Silence fell. Mom hesitated, and Lisa, as if on cue, jumped in. "Too much on her plate," she said casually. "Wouldn't want her to overdo it." I repeated her words back. Slow, deliberate. She was literally babysitting right now. My mother sighed, rubbing her temple, acting as though I was causing her stress. The irony wasn't lost on me. This wasn't about health. It was about control. 32 years of feeling second best crystallized in that single suffocating moment. "Lisa, who's never paid a single bill in her life, needs you more than I do?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Silence crashed over the room. My father shifted uncomfortably. Lisa rolled her eyes. My mother shook her head like I was the absurd one. "Not like that," she insisted. But it was exactly like that. Something inside me snapped. Years of frustration, resentment, disappointment. It all boiled over. I told them I finally understood. I wasn't part of this family, not really. I was the backup plan, the safety net, the idiot who kept the lights on while they lived their lives. My jaw clenched, my fists tight enough to crack my nails. Lisa smirked, calling me dramatic. Mom gasped. I called her pathetic. They deserved each other. Without another word, I turned and walked out. The drive home was a blur, streetlights flickering past, my hands trembling on the wheel, throat tight with fury. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I knew exactly what I had to do next. Aaron was waiting in the kitchen, Mia asleep upstairs. One look at my face and she knew. I told her everything. The lies, the manipulation, the final proof of what we'd both suspected for years. She didn't flinch. She just asked me what I planned to do. "I'm done," I said. Completely done. That night, I slept better than I had in years. The next morning, I acted. Every payment I'd been making for my parents, rent, utilities, car insurance, even grocery deliveries, was cancelled. Then I sent one final text, "You're on your own now, good luck." And I blocked their numbers. The fallout was immediate. My phone exploded, missed calls, dozens of them flashing like a Christmas tree. Emails piled up, each more desperate than the last. When those went unanswered, they called Aaron. She didn't answer a single one. I watched her, sitting across from me at the kitchen table, handling it all with quiet satisfaction. It made me fall in love with her all over again. Then came Margaret's big move. She took it public. A long, tearful Facebook post about her ungrateful son abandoning his sick mother. She described her sacrifices in painstaking detail, every check I'd written, every favor I'd done, all for nothing. I didn't respond. Not yet. Instead, I wrote my own post, cold, clinical, unflinching. I laid it all out, the years of unpaid babysitting, the money I'd given, the lies about her health, the favoritism toward Lisa, the truth. No dramatics, no tears, just facts. The reaction was explosive. Family members I hadn't spoken to in years reached out, some offering support, some sharing their own experiences with toxic family dynamics. Friends spread the post, validating every word I'd written. Neighbors even chimed in, mentioning how they'd seen Margaret gardening or shopping on days she claimed to be bedridden. Lisa's carefully curated image crumbled. The struggling, overworked single mom? The one who everyone pitied? Turns out, she'd been living off my parents and me, taking advantage at every turn. The facade cracked under the weight of accountability. And then came the final act. 3 days later, a knock at my door. Through the peephole I saw them, Margaret and Frank, looking desperate, my mother's eyes red-rimmed, my father's face drawn. I hesitated, hand on the doorknob. Part of me wanted to ignore them entirely. Another part, the part that had not fully let go, wanted to hear what they had to say. I opened the door, remaining in the doorway. My mother started immediately, voice breaking, begging to talk, to reconcile. I let her speak, listening without interrupting. My father followed, quiet, his voice heavy with unspoken guilt. "Son, your mother is devastated. We both are. We never meant to hurt you," he said, almost pleading. "You didn't mean for me to find out," I corrected. "There's a difference." Margaret reached for my arm. I stepped back. "Sweetheart, I know you're upset, B. Cutting us off, it's cruel. We can't pay rent this month. The electric company is threatening to shut off our power. Is that what you want?" I stayed calm, letting the guilt bounce off me. "You have options. Dad can work. You can downsize. Lisa can start contributing. Or you can keep playing these games and see where that gets you." Her expression hardened. "After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us. By throwing us out on the street." I took a breath, cold and steady. "What exactly have you done for me, Mom? Name one thing from the past decade that wasn't about what I could do for you." Silence. My father looked away. My mother's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Nothing came out. That was what I expected. I told them they had made their choice. Now they had to live with it. I shut the door. For the first time in my life, I felt truly free. No guilt, no manipulation, no chasing a love that was never real. And it felt incredible. The following weeks were surreal. Life without their constant demands was quiet. Almost too quiet. Aaron and I took Mia to the beach for a long weekend. No guilt trips, no frantic phone calls, just the sound of waves and her LA. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I focused on work, promotions, planning a better life for Mia. The weight of years of manipulation was lifting, replaced by clarity. But freedom came at a price. Gossip spread like wildfire. Family and distant relatives who had once been passive witnesses suddenly took sides, or at least shared what Margaret and Lisa were saying. According to them, I'd abandoned my parents, suffered a mental breakdown, and was driven purely by greed. Lisa painted me as unstable, obsessed with money, a cruel son. I sighed, leaning back in my office chair, trying to ignore the buzzing phone and the flood of messages. I called my aunt, who had always seen through my mother's manipulations. She was blunt. "They're being evicted next month," she said. "Frank tried to get his old job back. Lisa's asking for loans. Everyone's finally seeing the truth." A strange twinge of satisfaction passed through me. I had no guilt, just the grim recognition that my parents were finally facing consequences. But there was also a flicker of sadness, not for them exactly, but for the family that could have been, the relationships lost to lies and favoritism. 2 months passed. Life moved forward. Mia learned to count to 20, and we put an offer on a house in a quiet neighborhood, away from the chaos. Our home became a sanctuary. Then, a Christmas card arrived. No return address, but I recognized my mother's handwriting. Inside, a generic card with a smiling family photo. Margaret, Frank, Lisa, and her kids. On the back, a single line, "We miss you." No apology. No acknowledgement of what they'd done. Just those 3 words, designed to manipulate and guilt me. I tossed it in the trash without hesitation. That evening, Aaron and I decorated the tree. The doorbell rang. I froze. Aaron went to answer, coming back with a puzzled expression. "It's your dad," she whispered. I opened the door. Frank looked smaller than I remembered, hair grey, shoulders hunched. We exchanged brief, stiff greetings. I asked why he was here. "Can we talk, just for a few minutes?" he said. Aaron gave me the look. My call. I nodded. She took Mia upstairs, leaving us alone. We sat across from each other, the blinking Christmas tree casting long shadows. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here," he said, voice low. "She'd be furious if she found out." I raised an eyeb. "Row. Then why are you here?" He swallowed hard. "Because I owe you an apology, a real one. Not manipulative nonsense." I said nothing, waiting. His honesty was raw, unpolished, almost painful to hear. He admitted it. He had failed me my whole life, stood by while my mother favored Lisa, let them exploit me. He confessed he was a coward, too scared to intervene, too comfortable staying silent. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. I just wanted you to know I see it now. I see you did the right thing. Something inside me loosened. A small crack in the hard armor I'd built around myself. I asked him what would happen now. They were moving in with Lisa, he said grimly, not by choice. Even she couldn't handle the chaos. A wry smile tugged at my lips, irony finally meeting justice. He thanked me before leaving, told me I was a better father than he ever was. And then he was gone, trudging through the snow, leaving me staring at the door. Aaron found me moments later, gently asking if I was okay. I was, more than I'd been in years. For the first time, family wasn't about guilt or obligation. It was about choice. Mia, Aaron, friends who truly cared. They were my real family. Not perfect, but real. Life settled into a rhythm I hadn't known I was capable of. Aaron and I moved into a modest 4-bedroom house with a backyard big enough for Mia's swing set. She turned 3, celebrating with a dinosaur-themed party that left frosting smears everywhere. But I didn't care. These were the moments I'd fought for, moments free from manipulation and lies. Contact with my father remained sporadic, awkward phone calls we both didn't quite know how to navigate. My mother, predictably, refused to apologize to anyone, spinning the narrative that I was the one who needed to make amends. Lisa had kicked them out after just 2 months. She couldn't handle their constant demands. Finally, they were facing consequences for their behavior, and part of me felt vindicated, but another part of me couldn't shake a lingering sadness. Not for them exactly, but for what might have been. Then came the text, unknown number. Lisa, can we talk? Curiosity 1. We met at a coffee shop during my lunch break. Lisa looked different, less polished, more real. She wrapped her hands around her coffee mug, avoiding my eyes. I owe you an apology, she admitted. She explained how she'd misjudged the situation when Mom and Dad moved in, thinking it would be fine. She hadn't expected their constant demands, complaints, and entitlement. I listened, skeptical. Decades of manipulation didn't disappear in a single confession. But she continued, telling me she finally understood the weight I'd carried for years. The favoritism, the constant expectation to support everyone else. It wasn't fair. She admitted she had been wrong and for the first time truly saw the consequences of their choices. I'm not asking NG for forgiveness, she said quietly. I just want you to know I see it now. I want to be better, for my kids. I need to break the cycle. Something in me softened, not for her, not yet, but for what she was trying to do differently. She was a mother attempting to change, and in her words, I recognized honesty I hadn't seen from anyone in my family before. We spoke cautiously, navigating decades of complicated history, but it was different now. No guilt trips, no manipulation, just acknowledgement and accountability. We parted with an understanding that we might start over as adults, without the old baggage. A small tentative step toward rebuilding not the past, but maybe a future. I returned home, and as I pushed Mia on her swing set, watching her laughter fill the yard, I realized something profound. Family isn't always the people you're born into. Sometimes family is the people who choose to stand by you without manipulation, without expectation. It's Aaron, who loved me unconditionally. It's Mia, whose trust and joy are my guiding light. It's friends and allies who see the truth. They were my real family, messy, imperfect, but genuine. And for the first time in my life, I was truly free. In the end, I learned the hardest lesson about family. Love without honesty isn't love. It's obligation. I realized that no amount of money, effort, or sacrifice could force someone to value me the way I deserved. Walking away wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I reclaimed my life, my peace, and my freedom. And in that space, I found the family I had always truly wanted. Aaron, Mia, and the life we were building together. Sometimes the bravest revenge isn't about hurting them. It's about refusing to let their lies and manipulation control you. It's about standing up, setting boundaries, and choosing yourself. That was my revenge, a life lived on my own terms, free from guilt, free from manipulation, free at last. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to make the impossible choice between family loyalty and self-respect? Comment below. I'm curious to know how you handled it. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Here on Echoes of Revenge, we uncover the raw, the real, and the relentless truth behind betrayal and justice.